When we listen to our favorite players improvising guitar solos, our first impression is that these musicians must know thousands of riffs, but that's not necessarily true. Knowing how to effectively use and reuse guitar riffs is much more important than a gigantic musical vocabulary, and that's exactly what you're learning right here, right now at the Chop Shop. Hi, I'm Bonar. I'm a Canadian guitar player, and this is the Chop Shop. This is a practical three-step method. Step 1 is learn some of your favorite lead guitar riffs. Step 2, learn to make those lead riffs portable, movable, reusable, so you can reuse them in your own guitar solos. Step 3, learn to assemble those same riffs in a way that makes musical sense. This is how a lot of pros improvise guitar solos. In this chapter, we are practicing making riffs portable so we can use them in our own solos. We're building a vocabulary of our favorite riffs. Also, after today's exercise, I'm going to demonstrate some ideas around a concept called displacement. Displacement is a powerful tool you can use to turn a single riff into many riffs, among other things. So stick around to the end. I promise you'll find it helpful. We'll start with chop number 5 from the first semester of the Chop Shop. That's a riff in the key of F sharp. So let's start off by looking at the riff we learned in Chop 5, and let's lay the pentatonic grid underneath it so to see more clearly where this riff is. This provides a context for the location of the riff. The root note of the key of F sharp is highlighted in pink. We just line that pink circle up on the neck with the root note of the key signature we're playing in, and then we have a map of the pentatonic scale in that key, including the riff we're working on. Let's say that we want to use this riff in a different guitar solo, say a guitar solo in the key of E flat. Here's how we're going to do that. To move this riff, we simply drag the scale diagram that we have here along the neck until the pink circle of the root note is located on the note E flat on the 11th fret of the E string. By dragging the pentatonic grid to a new place on the neck, we ensure that this riff fits into the new song the same way it fit into the old song, because we're moving the riff and its context. That's all there is to it. When we're building a solo, we repeat this exercise with each riff that we want to use to put all our riffs into the same key signature, no matter what key signature they originally came from. Also, practicing each lead riff in different locations is the best way to turn this lead riff into a familiar phrase that you can reach for whenever you want. We're going to wrap up now, but stick around because we are going to look at a very cool way to relocate riffs that opens the door to unlimited reinterpretations of any riff with displacement. Don't miss it. Today we went through some steps that you want to repeat as often as you can, because these steps enable you to add any guitar riff to your lead solos whenever you want. Again, step 1, find a riff you want to reuse. Step 2, learn that riff and write it down on tab. I strongly recommend draw it onto the pentatonic scale as we did today as well. It locks in your awareness of where the riff is. 3, find the key signature of the song the riff came from. 4, find the key signature of the song you're taking the riff to. Step 5, finally, take the riff you've learned and drag the whole grid to the new root note using the pink circle on the diagram. And that's all there is to it. Let's have a quick look at displacement. Back in episode 2.1, we had a quick look at both of the extended pentatonic patterns, the extended pentatonic grid we use today, and I call that the extended pentatonic in the E form shape, as it's based around an E chord. And we also looked at the extended pentatonic A form shape. These two diagrams are showing the same pentatonic scale, but as we've noticed before, the scale takes on a slightly different shape if we start with the pink root note anchored on the E string, or if we anchor the root note onto the A string. Because these are two slightly different arrangements of the same pentatonic scale, we can use them in another way too. We can take a riff that was originally played on one pentatonic grid and we can play it on the other one. This will give us the same riff with a slightly different layout of notes and possibly a slightly different timbre. Let's have a look at today's riff. We moved riff 5 from the chop shop up to the key of E flat by dragging the extended E form up to the 11th fret. For a bunch of reasons, I might prefer to play that riff in a mid-neck position, and I can also easily do that by finding this riff on the A form pentatonic grid. Here's our extended pentatonic in the E form, but on this version I filled in the degree numbers of each of the notes. The pentatonic scale is made up of 5 notes: 1, flat 3, 4, 5, and flat 7. On this diagram you can see the degree numbers on the diagram. You do not always have to pay close attention to the degree numbers, but sometimes it's very helpful. Using this diagram as a reference, I've looked up the scale degree numbers of each of the notes on my riff. Okay, so these, I'm going to play the notes and I'll tell you the degree number. First I'm playing the 4 of the pentatonic scale, and the reason I'm using the degree numbers is because then these references make sense no matter what key I'm in, okay, which is very important, okay? Kind of the point of the whole exercise, really. Okay, so here's the 4th note, 4th degree of the scale, flat 5 of the scale, 5 of the scale, then 5 to the flat 7 on the B string, and then back to 5. Then I'm going to the flat 3 here up high on the 5th fret on the E string, and then I'm going to the 1. If I know the degree numbers, the notes in my riff, then I can find the same degree numbers on either grid. And that makes it possible to play this riff in either a grid position. This is a slightly advanced concept, but as you can see here, it's not complicated. You have to keep in mind that our two extended pentatonic patterns are simply two slightly different arrangements of the same notes that we can use so we can get our bearings at any location on the neck. If you have these two diagrams showing the degree numbers, you can use these roadmaps to easily jump from the extended pentatonic A form over to the extended pentatonic E form. And back again. You can get a free copy of those diagrams by sending me an email request at the address in the video description below. This is just the tip of the iceberg of the things we can do with displacement, but don't worry, we're going to look at displacement again soon, and often, because it's very useful. This brings us to the end of today's episode of Learn to Improvise Guitar Solos with the Chop Shop. Please click the like button and please subscribe to my channel. A PDF of the diagrams from today's episode is available. Send me an email at the address in the description to request the PDF and I'll send you a free copy. I'm Bonar and I hope you'll visit the channel again soon.